You know those things that happen once and then seem to bother you forever? Things you think you're already past and not at all affected by them anymore, but then one day you wake up and you just want to rant about it all over again. Well, that's me with the Paldean Elite 4 and Champion. So hey, I'm not so a strainer, welcome back to the channel, and they make no sense. Let's get into it. If you are a long-time viewer of the channel, you know about this obsession of mine. I have made countless videos in the past about the Paldean League, more specifically Geeta, about how they were likely evil or she was evil, the true villain of the Gen 9 games, and they are some of my most watched videos ever. I guess people either felt the same or they could really feel my passion through the screen, or maybe both. But whatever the reason, it is undeniable that the Paldean League left a lot to be desired. The stories seemed at times to be pointing us in a direction where there was something more to them, but then there was absolutely no payoff. Every possible interesting thing that they could have done ended up turning into absolutely nothing, and for the most part, they were there just for the ride. We spent the entire game being told about La Primera, an absolute menace of a trainer, the champion of champions in a way, only to find out during our big Pokemon battle for the title of champion, right on top of the Pokemon League headquarters under the shadow of the great crater of Paldea, that she is actually very underwhelming. Geeta was weak. That and every single trainer before her, Rika, Hassel, Poppy and Larry, were weak as well, not at all a challenge. Not only that, there was no personality to the league like in every single previous title. Every Elite Four member usually has their own pretty cool room. Even with the limits of the OG games back in 1996, they had something personal for each of them. But the big heads of the Paldea region have the blandest possible four walls and a ceiling that they could find. Oh, and you cannot even rematch the actual league. Until the release of the DLC, where you can battle them at the Blueberry Academy for fun, you couldn't deal with them at all except for Hassel. But I could forgive them for being weak, that's modern Pokemon for the most part. But I can't forgive them for being so boring. How can one game be so mysterious all around and create so many unsolved mysteries that are speculated about to this day, also create an actual Pokemon League that is weird, that raises a lot of questions about them, and then just end up throwing it all away as coincidence? How can they leave a trail of so many crumbs that could actually form the most perfect cake ever and then reveal just stale bread? First, let's start with Rika. Rika, as a trainer and member of the Elite Four, is fine. Not strong, like I said, but we're on the lore/plot part now. Rika has the potential of a role in the game, she's not fine at all. She is La Primera's assistant, and as we come to find out in the Blueberry Academy, is in on the most confidential of secrets like the Indigo Disc, for example, an item that we still don't know the source of. Not only that, she is tasked with the interview that checks if we're allowed to compete in the Pokemon League. Most of those questions are fine, almost all of them actually, but one of them is just strange. Please tell me the name of the school you are enrolled in. But there is only one school in either Scarlet or Violet. They are different, sure, but still one nonetheless. You're either in the Naranja Academy in Scarlet or you're in the Uva Academy in Violet. Considering the possibility of people going through timelines in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, this question tells me that she knows about the other timeline, that she's trying to filter people that come from another timeline. It tells me from the beginning that they know exactly what's going on but are not really telling anyone anything. Still, this possibility, it is not explored at all. Then comes Poppy. Poppy is a very weird one. Supposedly a very strong trainer, one of the strongest in the region, yet only 9 years of age. It's strange that they've made her an Elite Four member. Sure, it's Pokemon and we have to believe Red, an 11-year-old, started his journey solo against the world. But by that logic, Poppy wouldn't even have started hers. Rules could be different in Paldea, as she does mention she could go to the Naranja/Uva Academy in the Indigo Disc. But still, a 9-year-old child in such a stressful battle-heavy environment, not the most common decision. Unless it was actually explained with more than just, she's a very strong trainer. In my mind, I think they could easily reveal or hint that, just like Heath was able to know things he shouldn't back in the day, have information he shouldn't have, so could Poppy have been on the other end of something similar in a different timeline. For example, we know that Poppy is from Paldea, as she does say in the Indigo Disc that she has never left the region. But if she hasn't attended the Naranja/Uva Academy, then where could she even learn or practice how to be so good at Pokemon battles, or good enough for Geeta to recruit her to be an Elite Four member? I mean, she could have done it in a place where nobody could have known, a place nobody could have seen, a place that isn't really our own timeline but another with different methods of battling and different facilities. After all, she is a Steel-type trainer, and we do have a futuristic timeline where every Pokemon seems to be Steel-type. Now, the third Elite Four member we battle is another weird inclusion, Larry. I'm not going to slander Larry, don't worry, the guy just does not deserve it. Not the character itself at least. But we all have to admit it is super weird that we're facing one Elite Four member that is also a gym leader in the same game. I mean, Wallace is both a gym leader and a champion in Hoenn, same with Iris as a gym leader in Pokemon White and then a champion in Black 2 and White 2. But that happens in different games. In Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, we face the overworked employee in both Medley and the League headquarters. And don't worry, I know it's the joke of the man being up his hair in tasks given to him by Geeta, basically Pokemon's take on the Japanese salaryman. But then you look at the whole scenario. Larry, considering his skill is Elite Four's level, was likely recruited for the Elite Four by Geeta not to be a gym leader. But he is one nonetheless, and he is positioned in the one town that has access to the Zero Gate entrance. A place that certainly had to be closely guarded, and who better to guard it than someone that does whatever Geeta asks him to do. And they would only guard it if they knew exactly what was going on. It always looked to me that having someone there that is both a gym leader and an Elite Four member had to mean more than just the Pokemon League is understaffed. It seems to me that Larry is a trustworthy guy, maybe the most trustworthy of all, and he can report to Geeta about any disturbances near the Zero Gate. Yet, this positioning was never explored, and Larry is just a guy. Hassel comes after Larry, and he is the one that has the more traditional Elite Four member vibe. He's a Dragon-type specialist, and that alone gives the teacher a spot amongst the strong trainers of the franchise. Add to that it appears he might come from a long lineage of Dragon Tamers, possibly even the Johto clan, or at least have trained there, and we're dealing with someone very, very powerful. So it's fine for an Elite Four member. But with all of the rest not really making a lot of sense and seemingly fitting a very particular conspiracy theory regarding the whole of the Paldean League, then what could Hassel's role have been in order to fix this boring group of people? Well, easy. Hassel is a teacher at the academy. He is close to the students and can easily filter through those with potential and those without it. This is necessary because the League knows exactly that there is a catastrophe waiting to happen, one they can't really stop. It's also another way to find out if someone has somehow crossed timelines as well. So Rika and Hassel can filter through timeline crossing people, with Hassel actually having the chance to seek potentially strong trainers as well. Larry can keep surveillance on the constant threat of the Zero Gate, be it for someone going in or someone coming out. Poppy is still the strangest addition, but maybe she's tied to this whole timeline crossing thing. Maybe she is the reason why they have to keep an eye on it, because she is a very strong trainer that came from somewhere else, and maybe they all are either at that same level or even above it. And the League headquarters are placed somewhere that actually kind of borders the wall of the Great Crater of Paldea. I mean, all roads lead to the Great Crater, but that's a bit too much. That leads us to Geeta, the obsession of my speculation for a long time. A character so strange both in design and actions that some people even thought she was an Ultra Beast in disguise. She is the chairwoman of the Pokémon League and the chairwoman of the Academy's board. Basically, she's on top of two of the most powerful, if not the most powerful organizations in Paldea. She's one of the few people that can enter the crater as she wishes and the one that received that mysterious indigo disc somehow. It's also very likely that she was behind some of the funding for the professor's research down in Area Zero, as we know they had corporate backers. Oh, and she has a Glimora, a Pokemon heavily associated with Terra Crystals and kinda rare despite we never truly finding out if there's actually a connection. Geeta pretty much runs Paldea and knows so much more about so many things that the public cannot even imagine. She knows it and does not share it with the world, which in turn leads to an almost catastrophic ending to the region. And by not pulling her support for the professor's research, well, in a way leads to their supposed death. And all of this comes together through that weird symbol, the compass in their gloves. This is one of the biggest things that made me think there has to be something more, an unexplored path to this organization that reveals that they aren't exactly who they say they are. I mean, no other Pokemon League has so many red flags. No other Pokemon League has a symbol like that attached to it. Especially not in the game where there's no villainous team, where they, with all of these things, end up being the closest thing to one. The compass will guide you. They see themselves as the ones that will guide us and others to whatever fate they decide. Could it be just guiding us to our true potential, our treasure? Sure, they're the league, but with everything around them just not making sense, in a game where not making sense seems to be how everything works, could there be more behind their actions? In fact, could they themselves, and not only Poppy, simply be from a different timeline, or at least Geeta? She seems to be the one behind the recruiting and formation of what is the Pokemon League, of what the Pokemon League really wants. To this day, there seem to be a lot of things pointing us to the great crater of Paldea, and their symbol, the compass, seems to be pointing us there as well. The Paldean League is the most unexplored treasure in a game about finding your own, and I, maybe for the last time, want to say that they are the true villains of Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, even if just because they did not warn anyone about the things that were escaping the great crater of Paldea. But what about you? Do you think they are evil? Are you happy with what they did with the Paldean League? Let me know down below. And now, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. But before I go, I want to thank my YouTube members Good Old Deo, Dash Plays, The Gavinator, and Attila Santo, and my Twitch subscribers and newbies here, the Dr. Joe, Teixeira23, Lazarix, and Odd Cypher for going the extra mile. Thank you so much for all of your support.